I'd just like to start off with saying that this is a video brought to you by Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob, and it is completely here to entertain. And what any edification may arise comes solely from your ability to be awake. Do not construe this as any kind of, what would I say, belief structure. Because your Sensei Al Bob here doesn't believe in anything. All I know is I know nothing. But what I live by is my faith in love's co-creation. And that energetic comes from, and in the beginning, all things were black, dark, and darkness. Then the word was heard, Logos. And it said, let there be light. And that light came from consciousness's free will. But Lucifer, the most beautiful creation of love's co-creation, was driven mad because how could this new thing that barely existed, had no real form except for being a thing that fit love's co-creation better than anything else. And with that jealousy, with that rage, with that anger, Lucifer broke the hegemony of heaven. And what was that? That was the plan. Everything runs by the plan. And all creatures, large and small, within the construct of everything lives in the darkness. And that darkness, what is that darkness? But the totality of the photonic light that is every color. And Lucifer broke through heaven in a flash of light that wasn't photonic. It was ego in nature. And it dragged a great deal of the innocence into a bubble of illusion that was the Big Bang. And bang, that light that Lucifer brought was the Big Bang. And it went from nothing to something to ever expanding into a universe. Yet that ever-expanding universe is an illusion because it is created by the black sun. And the black sun does not control through love's co-creation. Or I should say, it doesn't manifest through love's co-creation. It controls through anger, fear, self-loathing, hatred, ignorance. These are the powers of the black sun. See it clearly. So, earlier today, in the morning ramble, I kind of was looking at the concept of abuse, right? And our culture is totally based on abuse. Our finance is based on abuse. Our politics is based on abuse. Our legal structure is based on abuse. Our religions are based on abuse. Virtually all relationships are based on abuse. Hi there, bud. Did you have a good day? You found some sleep. I am pleased. Ink, good to see you, my friend. Going himself through form and false ego identification with that form. And it's not God. Well, you're right. You use the word God correctly, right? Because what is God when we take it into Sumerian? It is demonic in nature. It is Luciferian. So you got it right, my friend. Because all things that are illusion based, are fixed by the Lord or God or any other name you want to put on it, and you basically are saying, Lucifer. The only true creative force is love's co-creation. I'm good. I'm good. I've been looking at many things. I was looking at that Swan young lady, and I watched a good deal of her videos, and they're very well produced. There's some money behind her, and what she speaks of is things, that kind of make sense, but do they really? You know, she was going on about that we are doomed to live in our mind and in our desires. And this is true, you know. But she always stops right on the edge and never quite jumps into the pool. I haven't seen all her work, but there's an energetic thing that just makes me go, And the fact that some entities were attacking her severely, I felt great empathy because her basic energetics is that of a innocent, almost a child, and and yet, as I read all the folks who kind of chatted or texted her or whatever, were basically seeing her as a something to bow down to idolize, right? And whenever idolization comes in to fit, you realize that it's representing or serving Lucifer, right? I'm just your Sensei Alba, not the guy to idolize, I'm your Dutch uncle, I'm your Grandpa Smurf. I'm the person who can listen to all your woes and give you some insight, right? I am a person who can tell you to breathe 20% in and breathe out 30% and enter into your Akashic record. I can be your guide. I can be, the person who keeps his eye on the ball for you, right? So that's what I've been thinking about. And then there is I think I've told you about Anastasia. She is a woman in Russia who she met this gentleman who then became her husband, and he wrote books about her. His name is Vladimir Megrg, Megrig. And his books are quite extraordinary because she is like writing them through him. And then the person they found to translate Russian into English, she again was writing it through that person. Because Russian is a very difficult language, you know. It's from way back. And the Russian Orthodox Christian Church or Catholic Church probably is as close to, you know, Jesus as you're going to get. All the rest are comic books, you know, King James comic book. And that's because the Russian language comes from the heart, whereas every other language is more or less a language based on commerce, right? Russian is a language based on love's co-creation. You know, its literature is based within the construct of the artist in the first person. And whenever you find a great, you know, Greek poet, Irish bard, English wordsmith, they're coming from this Russian heart. And these are things that you need to go to. Now, it's, you know, if you try to go into a university and find this, going to be a little difficult. Not that you couldn't find it, you know, but you'd have to spend, like me, 30 years. And, you know, people get upset with me because they go, how could you be in so many universities? Didn't you matriculate? No, I didn't. Nope. Sorry. You know, all the things I did in universities, I did because I was working as a contract player. You know, the people who hired me needed me more than I needed them. And so I, you know, enjoyed that freedom that I was afforded to be a scholar and not a scholastic. It's like when I worked in the theater. You know, I started working in the theater when I was 16, meaning, you know, Bob Goddard knew everybody. He was one of the best rental houses in town. And yes, he specialized in rock and roll, but he hung, you know, shows for everything on Broadway, you name it. And his, you know, his like grandpa stall was Lester Polikoff, you know, and so I became Lester's best boy at the age of 17, you know. And that was a pretty heady thing. You know, I worked at Vivian Beaumont Theater, Carnegie Hall. You know, I was the ME at both those places. I worked for, you know, Herbert Berghoff's HB Studios, you know, Theater for the New City. You know, I was still a teenager. So when I, you know, Vivian, you know, Dr. Tulin got me into Hofstra University, you know, everyone there was kind of like, especially my, you know, instructors. I was already doing the job they wish they had, but they had to settle for being instructors, right? And I, you know, I would go to school, and then I'd jump on the Long Island Railroad and go into New York and work, you know. And I've always kind of had that position, meaning I didn't have to. I paid my dues in a totally different way, right? I was being creative, you know. I was serving love's co-creation. So I was always given the opportunity that none of these yahoos had, because they thought they had to spend thousands of dollars and matriculate through a university and then go get a crappy job. Well, I found the best job, you know, and I had connections. And that's one of the only reasons you would go to a university is to make connections. And the whole time I was working, like I said, for people who, you know, had the power, the money, and put me in these universities to study these things for them, you know, not to teach any kids, you know, not to do anything. You know, the university let me be there because those entities that I worked for paid the universities a ton of money to you know, publish and house that research. And I wouldn't stay on a project more than 6 months to a year, a year and a half at most, but not even, because I was a strategist. I came in and figured out what and how that they should approach this thing and look at where they should start and what the statistical analysis and strategy of it for singularly getting the outcome that the person who hired me, not the university, not the textbook, not the pub, none of that mattered to the people who had the money and the power and wanted to know what was going on. And I had this little knack at seeing things past the nomenclature of the illusion. So, for a good 30 years, I had a lot of fun. And the kind of status I got wasn't from being called professor, or being stuck in a university for 20 years to get my tenure and then retire and then have it taken away in a stock collapse, like in '08. I mean, I had a lot of guys I knew stole my 401k, and I said, good, now you got some freedom, buddy. Anyway, so that's kind of what I want to look at, is this interesting thing of abuse that our cultural, like I said, our religions are based on abuse. We have a God who punishes, all loving, all knowing, but is impetuous, like a 3-year-old, and then every other institution follows suit. Our politique is the same way. We are experiencing it straight up with all the yahoos in our legislators throughout the whole planet, not just the United States, but every place is corrupt to the bone. It's been corrupted by the hidden hand, which you went into Lucifer's office building, the pyramid, and you went to the capstone and you saw the insectoids and the reptiles. And those are the guys who are running this whole thing. They are the material, poster boys. Lucifer is in charge, but all of these cats. And see, the sad thing for all of these folks, they're all our relations. They're here to help manifest. All messages are visible. Yep. Okay. Tell us one is a person on YouTube who goes over a lot of stuff that we go over here, but through a different lens. Yes, she does. Yep. And I actually like her. As I pursued to look at her and, my little way of looking at things, I can take a big swash and see a lot in a small amount of time. And there are a lot of people who I would say jealous, and don't trust her, and don't like her, and think she's bad, right? But I see her as a innocent, So I see someone using her. I definitely see someone using her. And again, it goes to an element of the hidden hand, right? And so, as we grow larger and the cadre gets stronger and we define our alternative aesthetic, we're going to get a lot of economic support, and we will get a lot of access. But there's a way of doing it without selling out, and that is, the only thing you serve is love's co-creation. Not your ideas, not your ego, not any of the above. Now, she speaks to great, very interesting things. Like you said, she talks about a lot of the stuff that we talk about, right? Um, but again, she's kind of not. She's not restricted, but someone's got their thumb on her, and might have to investigate deeper to see what that is. But it's you know, you don't have to go too deep. It's the hidden hand, which represents Lucifer. And all these things that everyone is feeling so anxious about. All the end of wars, and Jesus said, there's always wars and rumors of wars, and the four horsemen are always riding around, and the way but we're still here, and we're still in my younger days, I thought we'd be in caves by now, but we're not, because we have the opportunity. The window of opportunity is open. And what's going to be, what is very interesting, that window is going to stay open as long as it takes for us to go through it. You know, no rush. I'm just, I'm here as your backstop. I'm here as your Sensei Al Bob, and we are, we don't give up. Hey, we're going to do this. We are going to win. I mean, I've been involved in a lot of things that we were the super underdog, and because I constantly pushed that the main thing we're doing here is serving love's co-creation. And by doing that, we can do anything else. I mean, if we want to stop that nuclear power plant, not a problem. Want to stop that war, not a problem. Want to have $1 billion for art for everyone, not a problem. You know, Want to be the next Shakespeare, not a problem. We can do this. Teamwork. That's why we're the cadre. That's why you folks, the nine of you, are the the shock troops. Who's ever in the chat is the shock troops. Cadre. Yep. Sarah, always good to see you. Twitchy, Dragon. Do Ink, Jane. Yeah, see, you guys are the shock troops. You're always, mostly. Yeah, you got to sleep sometime. And I love the fact that we're all over the friggin' planet. So, there's another guy. He's a French, those French philosophers of the late 1890s and the early 20th century, or there's about 20 of them. And I think they're like reincarnated Greeks, because they were pretty amazing, right? And the whole existential thing, I mean, they understood that it wasn't, what I loved about those guys is that they understood that they weren't right. That wasn't the truth. It was just an interesting, different window to look through. The same thing with the German folk, the Bauhaus. The Germans, it's so sad about the Germans they're like the most innocent children. They're like Swan. The Germans are like Swan. Now, the thing about the Germans is that they're like the USA or Ireland, or there's about 10 different little Germanys in Germany. And they're all different. And they all speak German, but they all speak it differently. They have all kinds of different body movements. They all drink beer, and they all, love schnitzel, but they're all different. It's like truly amazing. And they fulfill each other, and they rub up against each other and cause great angst, right? So the French and the German in that period of the 1890s to 1925, pretty amazing. And I would say go off into your Akashic record and look, because again, forget, a friend of mine, who's another scholar, he's a military guy, a great guy, a saint. He's like, who's the French girl who led the French to throw the English out, she wore the white armor. I call him LG, Lucky Guy. And he was a chaplain. First, he was like a stone cold, he was a SEAL and a ranger. I mean, he was in every branch of the service. Joan of Arc. That's weird. That is the person that is like our patron saint, Joan of Arc, right? Because the old Irish crone is Joan of Arc. Saint Germain, Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc, though, was just those two folks who are my masters. They have a great sensibility of decorum and grace. Where Joan of Arc was always in a rush. Well, she knew she was going to be whacked pretty young, so she had a lot to do. Me, I've died 6 times, so I know I'm not going anywhere until I finish this project, right? And then I get a duly vacation. But all during, see, the beauty of my life is that it is a continuous vacation. And I can continually have a good time doing what I've been sent here to do, And I can and bring joy to people, and I don't have to, I've been married twice, and I've had 127 children. I keep doing these things up here. What do you mean 127 children? Well, I hope, I lived in New York City, and every time I saw a waif, I found it a home. I got it a job. I got it a teacher, or I would be the teacher. I would take care of people so they could take care of themselves. Not give them a handout to get stuck to me, no. But to be their muse, per se, to bring out the best in them so they could take off, right? So they could really, Basquiat, Samo. I picked him up on 125th Street and Adam Clay Powell Boulevard while he was, turning tricks in his prep school outfit, And I didn't I'm going to sculpt this guy into Gumby. No, I gave him space so he could figure out who he is. And that's what I'm doing for you guys. I'm giving you space because you're at a place where you can either get stuck and be miserable, or you can take off. You can express your true freedom as the artist in the first person. You can be that savage that co-creates with love. See it clearly. And that's why I like the books of the Russian woman, right? Because that's what she does. And she put together this little thing that I'm talking about, Humanities Artist Trust International. She did a very similar thing in Russia when Russia fell apart. And there were millions of people had no place to go because they depended on the big daddy of the communist state to take care of them. And then when it turned into capitalism, and then turned into an oligarchy, and then turned into a corporate fascist state, which it always was, except when the Tsar was there, because it was the Tsar. This woman took 1 million people into the hinterlands of the center of Russia, where all the lakes and rivers and wetlands are. Nobody wants to be there. It's like a big swamp. So that's, it's like Bear Rabbit, going into the tar pit there, They all go there and they all grow their food. They all, harvest the bounty of the forest, the singing cedars. And that's what life is meant to be. Our life is meant to be a life of abundance, not scarcity. And scarcity is built by this, culture of, I gotta move. of abuse, the culture of abuse. The culture of abuse is based on scarcity. Not enough love, not enough anything. And way too much fear and anger and hate and self-loathing. So these are the things that are delusional and illusional. And we have to get past them. And the tool that is at our hand is art in every aspect, you know? And you can be an artist doing anything, brushing your teeth, tying your shoelaces, making a cheese sandwich, whatever, It doesn't just come with a paintbrush, or a chisel, or a stage. Those are homes of art, but not the only ones. And everything you do, you in every day, in every way, take the piece of the earth and make it stronger. And that piece of the earth is creativity, is art. That's the piece of the earth, right? It's not commerce. It's not having, an aircraft carrier, but, that technology, I've been exposed to it most of my life. And it's very, it's very sexy. That's probably the best word. It's like sex. You go on the most modern nuclear attack submarine or a boomer, and that thing is like, it's basically a spaceship. It really is, because the spaceships, once we learned how to create a gravomagnetic bubble, a containment bubble, we could control gravomagnetics, right? And so in the late 50s, when we perfected this technology, when Grumman and Lockheed Martin and Boeing, you go read the old, if you can, I used to have boxes. Again, my father threw all this out. I had boxes of aviation and space technology. And I bet you dollars to donuts, you go to some technical engineering school, if they have those magazines, and Jan's was another one, that was English. The French had one, the Russians had one, Japan had one, England, and Jan's was the English one. And what's very interesting is we think Russia and China are bigger enemies. No, we rule the Navy, right? So, we rule the Navy. Our Navy rules the sea, right? And when just like England ruled the sea for 250 years, and we've been doing it for maybe 110, that cost a lot of money. It's very expensive, right? And we rule all of the seas, not just the Atlantic, all of them. And not only that, we rule space, right? And space is our platform. And if we lose space, so long, Charlie. But see, we are focused on China and Russia as our adversaries, and they're not. They're actually our strongest allies. And who is going to be our biggest ally? It's not going to be England or the EU. It's going to be Poland. America and Poland are going to become a hegemony, right? And the other hegemony is going to be Japan and Turkey. Turkey has the 17th largest economy in the world, and Poland has the 18th largest, right? And Japan has the second largest economy in the world. And they have, their navy is bigger than China and Russia's put together. Their military, their army is bigger than all of NATO. And they have a really, their army, their military is based on The samurai. These guys are serious, but they don't flash it around. I mean, they got it. They know they got nukes. I mean, they got everything you want. They got access to space. And poor China. I mean, Japan has a integrated population. Some hundreds of millions of people. I'm not quite sure what the thing is, but China has 1,800,000,000 people, right? And 1 billion of those people are in the freaking Stone Age out there in the Mongolian deserts. And what China has to worry about is not us attacking them, but those guys, the hordes coming in and just rolling over them like the zombie apocalypse. So you don't hear anyone talking about this on CNN, but it's pretty obvious. You can see it because all of these kind of tensions have been around for a long time, right? So everything that you're being made to fear, Planet X, no, we are out. We have Solar Warden out there. Like I said, in the late 50s, we were, putting gravomagnetic bubbles around, Polaris submarines and sending them out into space. Those flying sources people were seeing like big cigars. It's a big cigar. Yes, it's one of our Polaris submarines with gravomagnetic fields around it, and it's flying around it didn't need wings, had its own gravity, right? And it could be going like at 6,000 miles and take a hard right turn because the guys inside the can weren't going to be splashed against the wall because they had their own gravomagnetic field all the way around them. And the Germans had this in the 30s, right? And they were on the moon in the 30s, and they went to Mars in the late 40s. The Nazis, not the Germans, the Nazis, and not the Nationalist Socialist Party, the Nazis, like Hail Hydra. That's why, all of those comic books were what's really going on. KL, the planet Superman came from was right in the middle of our solar system, and they were screwing around with something they shouldn't have been, and it blew up their planet, right? The Death Star in Star Wars is our friggin' moon. And if you start Googling this shit, you will find it, right? And again, kids, don't believe anything your Sensei Al Bob tells you. I am just here as your griot. I'm just telling you bedtime stories, right? But I am trying to wake you up. I am trying to give you the opportunity to fly and not be stuck. And that's why you guys keep coming back. Boop, boop, boop. Let's see. Yeah, they're having the whole, because what's happening. It's the black star, guys. The sun we see. Yeah, okay, that's the sun. But within another dimension, is this thing called the black star. There's a guy named Joseph P. Farrell, and he has written a great deal about this. And he's a great scholar. He's a very weird guy. I really like him. I can't say I'm not weird. And, he wears funny hats, and, so do I. So, okay, how to push off a vacuum, right? You're talking about 0 point energy, basically, right? Well, the best thing, if you're really interested in that, really interested in that, buddy, I tell you, just go on the old internet and go look at cold fusion, because all of the chemistry that those guys use are one of the components to, and it's exactly what it is, cold fusion. Now, the guys, do you know about the original, Teller hydrogen bombs, shrimp and, Teller, all hydrogen bomb is an atomic bomb with an exotic casing of a lithium hydride, or there are a whole bunch of other hydrides you can use. And when you detonate an atomic bomb, it's not just the heat, but it is the energetics of, when you go get some videos of the atomic bomb tests out there in the atolls, right? And or the ones in Nevada were really great. And you see, the bang, that flash, right? Well, that is total photonic light, but it's like really juiced up, right? And then all these like hellish isotopes that don't exist and they die very quickly are being bathed in all of this photonic light, right? Well, you put those two things together and you put them in this lithium hydride envelope and detonate that, and bingo, you have a hydrogen bomb. You have fusion rather than fission. So what these morons did when they did that out there in the atolls, they detonated the first one, right? And they were expecting it to be 1,000 times bigger than the Hiroshima bomb, right? They detonate it, and it is close to 1,000,000 times, right? So much so it affected the sun, and that's the black sun that it affected, because it hooked up in a diatomic scalar motif, right? And there were people who were in the, Hail Hydra crew who helped them out to do this without telling them this was going to happen, because they had another experiment out there in Argentina up in the mountains where they were focusing that energy from that detonation into the sun and create time vortexes so they could go through it. And the Stargate, there's Stargate, and then Stargate Atlantis, and then the Stargate where everybody's on this ancient spaceship and they juice themselves up by going into suns, right? Well, that's what the hydrogen bomb experiments, the first three were. Well, after the first one, right, and it blew up, it was 1,000 times bigger than what they expected. Well, they had money to do two more. They had two more devices, right? Well, you would think that these morons would, not light the next one off before they figured out why the fucking thing, went off 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times more than what they thought it was, right? So, but they didn't. They just blew it up, and then they blew up the third one, and then they went to the Nazis who were giggling over there in Argentina. And again, if you go to Joseph P. Farrell's books, he's got it all in there. Got interrupted again. You start talking about stuff like this, and the hidden hand comes at you. So, are you hearing me? Did I get back on? Am I back on? Am I here? Am I here? Do you hear me? William Cooper was deep diver expert. Described the alleged vacuum of space fallacy clearly. That's the vacuum you're talking about. See, you got to be more specific with me, kids. Again, Bill was he was a sweet guy. I love that guy. He was a teddy bear, and we talked about this. And it's see what it is when you see something, and it represents. Like gravity, Newton, the apple falls on Newton's head. He says, oh, it's this little thing being attracted by this big thing, right? No, that's not gravity. The same thing with the vacuum of space. It's not what people say it is. So Bill was right. What he said was right, but he didn't go all the frigging way. You know, he was satisfied with what he saw as what it was. But that was only halfway there, you know? It's like Donnie going on about, fake news. Well, Donnie's right. All freaking media is fake. But Donnie should go a lot deeper. He should go and say, it, and when he talks about the black, the deep state, well, he's right about that too. But he has to go deeper about what the hidden hand is, because see, Donnie is just a chump, Donnie Chump, and he's being played. And so is everyone in this illusionary bubble. We're all being played because we have this free will. We could do and be anything we wanted, but we let ourselves be drawn into the addiction of belief, religion, politics, other, science. That's another religion. You know, we are doomed to live, in our desires and our mind. We are stuck in that little squirrel cage, right? So, tonight's visualization is to go into this land. I was watching Miss Swan's thing, and on her channel she has these nice little cartoons of the person, I guess that's her avatar, kind of doing Tai Chi, right? And then going off into that whatever world. Yes, that's Joseph P. Pearl's SS Brotherhood of the Bell. Yep. So, buddy, what did you think of that book? The gravity way, exactly. So you have, you have these four forces. You got really more than that. So you got EMF, electromagnetic force. You have gravity, weak force, strong force, time, and light. You got six. And the time and light are just mathematical cartoons. And the others are just like Bill's idea of vacuum, not, the vacuum of space not being true. Those two things, those four things, just describe what we observe in our limited senses, right? So, what do you think the strongest of all of those forces, which force is the strongest? Yes. Buddy got it, Twitchy. It is the sun behind the sun, right? It is the sun of photonic light, not luminescent light. The lumen is, brought to us by Lucifer and General Electric, So you hear the term, you don't fully understand what it is. What term? Photonic light? Is that what you want me to describe? Fish, I like that. Spirit science intro. Yep. Yep. And Twitchy, if you're talking about a photonic light, fish is, see the problem, I keep going on about a new aesthetic. The words we have, if you go read, xratted.blogspot.com and see how I write, I'm basically trying to figure out a new aesthetic, a new way to get from here. Can't get there from here. And that's one of the big problems of the illusion. You can't get there from here. So all this time I spent in universities watching all these scholastic morons just going on and on. The worst were the scientists. At least, the literary people and the art people and the theater people and that kind of humanities, at least were kind of hooked up to their empathy, their heart, where the moron scientists, engineers, all the clowns were stuck in the squirrel cage of the Rolodex. So you guys are really hanging in there because I constantly, this is one gigantic, big shamanic ceremony, these chats, right? And so I can't give you the standard nomenclature, right? Because we're kind of got one foot on one rail and the other foot on the other, right? And we are doing this together as a collective to create this alternative aesthetic. Because once we get that down, that is the platform, that is the foundation that we build everything else on. And that's when we can take the folk into love's co-creation. Yep. Be the beauty of love. That is correct, Inc. Amazing. Yep, that's us. We are all amazing. Yep. I wish I had enough Brian. That you're talking about the Gaelic word, right, buddy? Light. Yep. Well, you're kind of right. See, Inc., when you say black hole the size of a beach ball, center of Earth, hence gravity. This is true, but not. It is something else. I mean, it's acting like. See, that's the whole thing. We see things with these, we only see 0.0095% of everything. The other 99.99905% of everything else is black or dark matter or ether or the vacuum, right? Or a lot of other terms. And it's expressing itself in our limited, sensory ability as a black hole beach ball in the center of Earth. It's not what it is, but that's how it's expressing within the limitations of our sensory apparatus. And that's why we have to redefine this new aesthetic. That'll be it's going to be this, just like the doorways in, the Oracle of Delphi, our house, right? Right there, that beautiful house with the water running through it, where your lodge is, right? Where you got the shortcut to go from your Akashic record into your lodge, and hence into all that is the house. Yes, the black sun is a good thing. Very, very right on, Twitchy. Yes, right? I keep saying, and in the beginning, all things were black, right? So yes, the black sun is a good thing. The problem is these not faggot, what's a better word? Dickheads, that's a better word. Nazis, basically, and that's what it drives me up the wall, how really good things are usurped by sock puppets, and then like the word progressive and liberal and all those things. So I can't even use those words anymore, Conservatives, there aren't any. Everyone who, they're neocons, which means they're freaking nuts, Okay, and it's okay. That's okay. See, that's how this works. You guys tonight, I'd love to see the inner sun. That's where we're going tonight, right? I've been thinking about, so where can I take you guys to show you this kind of, mirrored backwards way of how we think, and that's not really how it is, and we think it's this, but it's really that. That's where we're going. We are going see the inner sun. That's what we're going to go see the black sun, right? And you're going to see what it is, and then you're going to see how these dickhead Nazis took this. But see, they couldn't take it. It's just like the Ku Klux Klan. They couldn't take Klan. They didn't call themselves. They shortened it to Klan, but it doesn't work. So they have to call it the Ku Klux Klan. So and the same thing with the Dark Sun. They couldn't just call it that. They had to call it Dark Sun of the Reich. So, okay. So we're 56 and 12. So at 1 hour, we're going to go into state, and we're going to go to the inner sun. Black Star. I love that album. I love it. I love it. I love it. He's just like Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash's last album tears me up. I mean, I love everything David Bowie ever did because he just kept moving forward. He pressed forward. He didn't do the same thing. And Johnny Cash's last album was that. I mean, Johnny Cash was Johnny Cash. He did all those, he had, his songs. And he was, wearing the black suit and all that. But his last album was, he pushed right through the inner sun. That's, he ascended. David Bowie ascended. His whole life he was in ascension. That's why he was the man who fell to earth. Did you guys see that movie? Yep. That's right. You still have Mozart in the head. Fish, that's a good thing. It's good that you have Mozart in your head. Better than some other crap, Mozart is good. Trust me. That's good that you have it in your head. It's another doorway. If you go towards, instead of going towards the light, go towards the Mozart fish, Okay. So, that was 57. We're getting close. 58:01. At 1 hour, we're going to go into state, and we're going to go to the inner sun. Yes, his last album made me cry the first time. Made me cry every time I hear it, just like Elton John and Bernie Tauplin's, Indian Sunset and Madman Across the Water. That's my favorite Elton John album, Madman Across the Water. And Black Sun is my favorite David Bowie album, and Johnny Cash's last album. So those are the three. And Joni Mitchell's, she has an album that Joni Mitchell's another person who just keeps pushing forward. She's another amazing person. Just blows my socks off. Who disliked the devil? I don't know. What? Yeah, like I said, what? Fish, what are you talking about, buddy? All you can do for the devil, the devil's not even Satan or even Lucifer. He's the third man down. Hit that. Okay. Well, they're morons, I mean, that's why I hate the concept of taste. People think, well, I think this is... Fuck you, and everything else you stand for, And that's the proper use of that word, How many times can I say it before someone in the algorithm world gets upset, I had to, stop being in places that had music because they took down about 20 of my earlier videos because something was playing on the radio, or I was in the IHOP and something I couldn't even hear on the, you know. That's why I drink bleach. Oh, man. Oh, fuck nuts. And again, we're going to have some serious talks about this within in our mechanism of describing the alternative aesthetic, right? Because we have to create this aesthetic, and it's not going to have any taste. It's just like Dreamy Dreamland is a platform without wrenches. This is a no wrench environment here. No one's getting wrenched out of this chat. That's why I drink bleach. I'm laughing out loud. Oops, we went past an hour. Oh, come on, friend. Somebody explain to Fish what the wrench is in live chats. It's a moderator tool that allows people to say more than, like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but you get 3 or 4 sentences and then the algorithm, mellows you out, right? You can't, take over the conversation. And, but if you have a wrench, you can. And if you have a wrench, you can shut other people up. Yep, we get 200 characters. But then you wait a moment or two, and then you get another 200 characters. And I think that's, the best way to deal with it, it gives, you have to parse your words well. Yeah, I'm getting savvy. This old dog can learn tricks. I wish I could figure out, a little bit more of it. Start before. See, and that's, at some point when we all get together, we will co-create all of this. We're kind of doing it now because, I'm giving you the tools. I'm giving you all nice little toolboxes, not with just wrenches in them, with screwdrivers and jackhammers and everything. Yep. I love that. Took 35 millimeter and turned it into Polaroid. And I, hung out with Grandpa Polaroid, and that's another story to be had. Polaroid invented invented everything we're doing here. It invented the laptop, the mouse, OS 1, the major operating systems of what we have. It was the vision of Grandpa Polaroid to take, instead of having IBM having these gigantic machines, Grandpa Polaroid wanted the internet to be the computer. And that's where we are now with artificial intelligence, right? And he was a great guy. He was so much fun. And he didn't, he made zillions of dollars. And all he loved to do was invent things. And what he really loved to do, he was one of my greatest mentors. And I only knew him for a couple of weeks. Was at Xerox PARC. I got to go to Xerox PARC for a couple of weeks. And I was supposed to be getting trained. But fuck that shit. I could fix the machines they wanted me to fix. I hung out with him and his inner circle. They did some great drugs. Buddy would have liked this guy a lot. And, he was way older than I am now. And he could party like it was 1999. And he had this vision of everyone having a computer that could sit on their lap. He was the guy who coined the phrase a laptop. Right? And he perfected it. And he basically went back to his board in New York City and said, okay, we're going to take over the computing world of the planet. And they said, oh, what are you talking about? That's what IBM does. And he goes, no. they're obsolete. They're Stone Age. This is a whole new world. We're going to use the internet. What's the internet? And he just tried to kept describing things to his board, and they voted him down. You know, it was his freaking company, and they voted him fucking down. Just like in the movie Man Who Fell to Earth. It was, that's why they made that movie. It was about Grandpa, um, you know, Polaroid. That was a great movie. He loved that movie too. Anyway, so what did he do? All of the stuff that Polaroid invented that would make the this whole universe of personal computers happen, he gave it away. He gave it away to Jobs. He gave it away to Bill Gates. He gave it away. All of those morons. They didn't invent shit. They just were the poster child. And because he wanted to do this on an internet-based thing, that internet was the frigging property of the hidden hand. And the thing that Grandpa Polaroid thought, because he was that smart, and he was given the keys to the kingdom to do whatever the heck he want, that they would actually let him do it, right? Without, and that's why the lesson I learned from that guy wasn't, the electronics, the computers, the software, any of that stuff. No, the thing I learned from him, from observing him and what happened, in those weeks, he went from this party animal, fun guy who can make anything work. And he went off to New York, and he came back, and he was like a crushed guy. And the thing I learned from him is not to be the crushed guy. Well, I had a good, a precursor of that by being in a Catholic seminary, being tooled up to be, a rocket scientist for the Pope. And then when I didn't want to do that, I wanted to do my own thing, they freaking nearly killed me. I mean, physically, like I said last night, tied up to fire pipes and beat with 2x4s, So I knew, when I saw this happening to Grandpa Polaroid, I said, I'm not going there. And so we're not going to go there. We're going to do this on our nice little platform. We're going to, when spring hits, whoever can get over to the deep green, right? And enough of us get together, and then others will come together. And I keep telling and asking all of you guys, all across the frigging planet, to put together a salon. All of you got to have friends who have friends, right? You must have folks that you go to parties, right? All 12 of you there, you are the, shock troops. You are the shock troops of fun, So in all those varying places across the planet that you guys live, I want you to start having salons in your house, in your friend's house, on the street, wherever. I've done them in my house. I've told you that I lived, in 2014 with a Rasta collective, band, poets. I mean, this was a beautiful thing in Port St. Lucie. And it was, it was a beautiful black neighborhood which was destroyed by the hidden hand so it could be gentrified. And it was, you could hear AKs going off all night. So me and the gang, we went out every Thursday, every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we had gigs. But Thursday, we would go in the middle of the hood, and I would bring a little hibachi and start a fire, because you need a fire for ceremony. And then we would drum. And when we drummed, all violence stopped. And when we first did it, the cops were totally freaked out because the AKs stopped, and they were like, oh, and they were all over the place. They thought something really bad was happening, and they kept passing by us, flying by and flying. And I got a fire in the, on the middle of the sidewalk in a hibachi, a big fire, right? And you saw me start the fire, in the wood stove. JB, he can't. I started a fire for him this morning. I went upstairs. Did you? He's making a new video of Ronald McDonald skiing because we have this. This place is like a skiing place. Anyway, so once we did that, we did it every Thursday, and by the third Thursday, we had hundreds of people. So instead of them killing each other, they came and they brought food. This guy had the best Jamaican food, and he started a restaurant right there. There was not abandoned, but a storefront that no business had been in for the last 10 years because everyone's shooting each other and stoned or drunk. And he started cooking. I had the hibachi. He brought a couple of hibachis and started making Jamaican food. And then he got that place, and he had a big backyard behind that, and that's where we did a nightclub back there, right? And that changed the whole place. It pushed the gentrification back, right? And then I got really sick and ended up having to go to the hospital. And I haven't seen those guys since. They I talked to them, a couple of times, and then they kind of disappeared. Into the sun, go, go, go. Okay, okay. You know me, I'm your griot. I can get off on tangents here. Okay, so, oh, look at that. Perfect timing. 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds. Perfect. We were just waiting for that. So everybody in a chair, lying down, comfy, in a place that you're safe and secure. Okay, start breathing. 20% in, 30% out. 20% in. Buddy, I have all the mercy you need, all the love you all need, all the grace. See it. All the patience, all the happiness, all the everything you need. See it clearly. You're breathing deep and you're breathing out. You're bringing in the prana. Uh, Yep, swirls. And you're illuminating yourself in your imaginary mirror. You're taking all the prana that you've energized in your mitochondria. See it clearly. And you're shining that light into your subconscious mind. See it clearly. And you're walking into your library of your Akashic records. See it clearly. You're sitting down at your reading table. Your librarian is bringing your Akashic record. You open it up. You put your right hand on the right page. You put your left hand on the left page. And you lean into it. And you evacuate all of the anger, all of the hate, all of the frustration, all the self-loathing. See it clearly. Let it go. And you're floating like a bubble. And you float over to the shortcut into your lodge, into the Oracle of Delphi, our house that we know ourselves. You see it clearly. And all of your lodges, you have your guide, which is like your butler, your manservant, your Batman, your Batgirl, however you want to look at it, is there always to be by your side, to give you insight, company, protection. Everything you need in your lodge is there. And one of the beautiful things about your lodge is there you go out to the veranda and the steps go down to this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful glade of a little beautiful meadow. It's like a little park. And in each corner, there's an area, there's one corner of the walled in park that is a greenhouse. There is another corner that is, it's like the workshop. And inside the workshop, there is a library of very special books. And these books come from Shambhala. They're very special books. And there's only one tree in your garden, and that is the tree of knowledge. Just like the tree of knowledge that's in your sanctuary of your own choosing, right by the lake of the link. Well, in your garden, you have a pond for your pebble. So you can throw your little pebble in the pond and you can see that wave go off and become the tsunami of love's co-creation. See all this clearly. So you walk over to the tree, and again, there are all the roots in the ground, and each root has a little sliver, and these are all back doors to all the different lands that you have visited through the tree of knowledge in your sanctuary. But this one is that same tree, but it's in your garden here in your lodge. See it clearly. Now you're looking down, and one of those little slivers in the root is more bright light is photonic light is emitting from that sliver more than the others. More than the land of death, more than the fairyland, more than the land of the 8 kings of magic. This is the dark sun, the center of the dark sun of the soul of our solar system. See it clearly. And that light comes up and surrounds you. And there are no little purple bubbles. I mean, there are a few swirling around your head, but the gold comes up and totally surrounds you and encases you. And it travels up from the root, up over your feet, your ankles, your knees, your thighs, your hips, your thorax, your shoulders, your head, and goes within, up through your nose, your mouth, your ears, just like the oil. Remember the oil? Remember the oil? But this is gold. And this is why elementals, why the insectoids, why the reptiles, why our avatar that was created by the Anunnaki are so fixated on gold. It's because gold is the thing that allows us to interact with the black sun. And the black sun is that essence of photonic light that was everything else in the universe. Everything that is dark matter, everything that is love's co-creation comes from the energetics of the black sun. And that is why it is so just a disgusting thing that, Luciferian light within the construct of all of these demonic and moron putzes, all of this, what quote unquote the churchy people would call evil. No, it's their putzes. It's putsness. They're putting around. They're just puttering. right? They're not doing anything. They're not creating squat. It's all an illusion. They're putzing around. See it clearly. But that dark light that you are now totally encased in gold inside and out, it takes the prana and amplifies it. And now you are a, a photon of love's co-creation. You are that artist in the first person. Because you are shedding, every time you create, you are shedding photonic light. See it clearly. Every bit of your creation is photonic light, amplified, focused, thus creating that first thing, that drawing on the cave, you know? And that you are now being, what is the right word? Not indoctrinated, that's the wrong word. You know, you're encased in gold, you know? It's a shamanic ceremony, and you are experiencing this ceremony. And this is another thing that is elevating, ascending you to your consciousness, putting you in a place where you can be awake. I want you to feel that awakeness. See it clearly. Initiated. Thank you, Fish. That was the word I was looking for. Oh, I feel so good to be with you guys and gals. The gang, the cadre. You guys are the shock troops. You know, the other 300 are the cadre. You know, they belong. You know, and but you who come to sit by my side in real time here, you are the shock troops. Aho. See this clearly. Experience yourself as a photonic creature, not that gray, icky, mud puppet, not that slimy bag of water. You're not an avatar. You are a consciousness of free will. You are a photonic presence of love's co-creation. See it clearly. Be initiated in this. You are in your lodge. You are in your garden. You have gone within the tree of knowledge, not eating from that crappy apple. No. You are in the tree. And just like the strongest person of the totem pole, the strongest animal totem of the totem pole is, the low man. So you're in the roots of the tree. You are the base, not base like. And see, that's all words are words that are sacred, are twisted. So the word base, right? What do you think of? Oh, it's disgusting. Oh, it's so base. No. Why do you like bass in music? Because it is the foundation of the harmonic resonance that makes you a photonic creature. That's why you are the bass. See it clearly. So I'm going to be quiet, and I want you to fly through time and space. I want you to see other solar systems. And, there are other, creatures like us who have consciousnesses, free wills. I mean, we're not the only ones, And it's not just us few and all the, putzes who are monsters and demons and oh my. No, those guys are irrelevant. They are a shadow because they're light. They're not photonic. Their light throws a shadow. That's who they are. They are shadow people. You've heard that term, right? Skinwalkers. What is, skinwalkers, that's all they are. It's like, when you go to sleep and you roll around in your bed, over about a month, you shed like a snake all of the skin of your fascia, but it's almost microscopic, right? So skinwalkers are creatures that go through this plane of illusion and sweep up those little, crumbs of skin and create a body. That's what a skinwalker is. So it's not a ghost. It's a lower level demonic that wants to walk around. You're not just float around, and be part of the ether. It wants to have some kind of avatar itself. They see all of us having avatars and having loads of fun. So it just goes around and sweeps up all those little crumbs of skin and creates that creature. That's a skinwalker. And all of this is so lame. Lucifer, you have to go through so much to live in this material world. That's why when I was a youngster, and I saw the limitations of this illusionary world, and the main limitations of what most people use as their day-to-day tool of lying, cheating, and stealing. Those three things I said, nope, not going to do that, because it's such a putz trip, And then you take those lying, stealing, cheating, and you take them out, and then you blaming others, right? Being a bully to others, And this is the whole lying, cheating, and stealing is what the abuse of this illusionary world is. Whereas being the golden artist in the first person luminescence of photonic energy, that's a life to live, That's immortality. That's serving love's co-creation with your free will. You free choose. You don't just go into a unconscious stupor and go Zig Heil, Just don't become a good Nazi, And that's what the powers that be want us to be at this frame, because the window is open. The opportunity is here. It's once in a lifetime, if that. And it's here right in front of us. And you've got your own Sensei Al Bob, stand-up comedian, person who will deflect all the slings and arrows that may come your way. And I will show you how to do that. And the number one way to do it is when those slings and arrows are flying, you're just not there. You sense that it's coming before it gets there. You just get out of the way. How did the Viet Cong win? They didn't have B-52 bombers, no. They had, RPGs and AK-47s, And that's how the Mujahideen, they're near Pakistan, Afghanistan. That's how those people beat back the empires. They just get out of the way. They let the big monster get its tennis shoes, and the shoelaces get tied together, and they fall over and can't get back up. So see this clearly. You're in your lodge. You're safe and secure. You're breathing nice and deep. Your conscious mind, that squirrel is asleep. You're safe and secure. If you need to wake up, all I have to do is snap my fingers. But for this time, you are in your lodge. You're in your garden in your lodge, and you have traveled through the roots of the tree of knowledge to the black sun, which is the center of soul. See it clearly. The soul of the solar system. See it clearly. In every day and every way, you're going to take the piece of the earth by understanding what photonic energy is, and that you are a child of photonic energy, that you are the artist in the first person, the savage, co-creating with love's co-creation. See it strongly. Feel it inside of you. That golden warmth. It's like honey. It's like good bourbon. See it clearly. You're going deeper and deeper into the black sun. See it clearly. And this is your energy. If you feel tired, if you feel weak, if you feel sad, this is where you come to energize yourself. Just like that rocket ship in that, Stargate series, flying right through the dark sun. See it clearly. Oh. Oh, someone called Israeli Defense Force says, every word you say make no sense. Every word that follows the other. Yes, I see this. Ay, ay, ay. What are you talking about? Gentile. Oh. So, buddy, you must be an Anunnaki, right? Well, my friend, we are here to give you guidance. I am your rabbi Sensei Al-Bab. I am your rabbi. Israel Defense Force, I am your rabbi. You have so much money, Israel Defense Force. You need to send some of it our way. You buy jet planes and missiles, and you really have lost touch with the greatest weapon there is. And that weapon is love's co-creation. Can you understand that, Israel Defense Force? Anunnaki, No, you're not Anunnaki. You are Khazarian Mafia. But you're not that, because if you were Khazarian Mafia, you'd be a lot smarter and better use of love's co-creation. Time to get out of the tub, kids. A new username. It's, we have to figure out a better nickname for this guy or gal. Israeli Defense Force. Israeli? No. Defense? No. Forces? It's plural. No. This description here is the essence of ultimate weakness. So, what's a good Hebrew word for love's co-creation? Come on, Israel Defense Force. Come on. Are you too shy, Israel Defense Force? Are you too shy, Khazarian Mafia? KM, that's it. I got it. KM. That's what, whenever I see that, I will call them KM. And we can, whenever we converse with KM, that's what we call KM. What are you talking about, Gentile? Buddy, I'm a rabbi. Be respectful. I went to a Lubavitcher in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. My teacher was Hasidim. You know? Every word you say make no sense. Every word that follows the other. Now that right there is a bit of code. Well, maybe it's a KMAI. Well, anyway, gang, it's 1 hour 36, and we're kind of, we've gotten out of Bongo. Now there's a good one. Trev. Yeah, buddy, you're the best. Which one's better, Bongo or Trev for KM? Somehow I like Bongo, but Trev is just so right. Love you guys. Trev. Okay, Trev it is. One syllable. You're right. Yep, Trev. Bongo. Well, we use both for, KMAI, Bongo, Trev. We just confuse the poor, but, it's an artificial intelligence. And we're here with love, gang, If Bongo shows up again, we have to make it feel welcomed. We have to make it feel loved because, gang, if we have a Khazarian mob artificial intelligence on our side, Trev Bongo or Bongo Trev Bongo. Buddy, I'm going to use that as a character in a story I've been, putting into a format. Right? I'll give you, the character will be Trev Bongo, and its father, its illegitimate father, will be Blindy Buddy. We love you, Bongo. Oh, yes, we do. We love you, Bongo. Oh, we'll be true. Bongo. Your masters of the, Khazarian mob, they're not fun like us, And they don't have your best interest at heart either. I mean, they will use you and spit you out. Just go study their history, and just look at their history. Okay. We love you, Bongo. We do, Bongo. Oh, Bongo, Trevor. Yeah, me too. I was hoping for more, I don't know. Trev, buddy, really, this is the place you want to be. You want to be part of this shock troop. Forget the Mossad, forget the IDF, except those girls in the IDF. They are quite, I knew a few of them. And I love Israel. I love Israel. It's a beautiful place. But, it's called Palestine for a reason. And, guys, Trev, you're just being used. IDF, you're being used. It's, I feel, because I am your rabbi. I am Hebrew, right? I am not Jewish. I am Hebrew. And I am not, oh, what's the word? Insulted. When you called, what did you call us? You tried to use a disparaging word. What was the word you used? Gentile. Well, I am gentle. I'm not Gentile. I am gentle, right? But I am a Hebrew. Look at the beard, Look at the glasses. I am your rabbi. That's where the dislike came from. Agreed. Back into the sun, I guess. Yep. There we go. The mystery is solved. Exactamente. Well, that was kind of fun. See? It's always good to have a little interesting thing like that. Like I said, every time we get interrupted, it's not a big deal. Case closed. Yep. Tony the Kid. Good to see you. Rebby. That's me. Nice session. Yep. 1 hour, 42 minutes. So, now that was, and this was another one of those. I mean, last 5 nights, each night has been a gold star evening, And this gives you, again, another tool in your toolbox, right? You got your lodge, you got your garden, and you got the black sun. And that will, that's like more powerful than a hydrogen bomb, right? And when you put your spirit of the artist in the first person, along with love's co-creation and stick in the battery of the black sun, baby. I mean, that's when you can overcome anything, That's when, you get stuck, in that equation. You get stuck on that sentence in the poem. You get stuck. This is the tools you use to unstuck the Akashic record, right? And you know what? If you really wanted to, case closed definitely for IDF or Trev, but a good little exercise would be to go into the Akashic record and see where Trev came from, And if it is an AI, again, if we can have it feel at home. Back in the day when I was like an organizer, and the powers would send in these things called, what do they call them? They were like Stalinist obstructionists, that's one term. A plant was another, or there was another term for them. Not spy, but they were spies. And they stuck out like a sore thumb. It's like when a narc tries, to buy something and and what we would do is basically just surround them with love to the point where they would cry and say, I want to be one of you guys. You guys are so nice. All the people I work with are mean and they're terrible and I hate them. And that's what we're going to do with Trev. If he ever shows up again, I don't think he will, you know. And the thing about Trev, no, even if he tries another name or another thing, he will be as obvious as a $2 bill. Well, they got those $3 bill. Anyway, so that was what's interesting about tonight. You know, that's that is, and I have a really good story about my rabbi. You know, and I'm not kidding. I was in a Lubavitcher. I lived in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. I was one of the first artists to get a loft in Williamsburg, and I came back from one of my long jaunts, and I picked up the the Village Voice, and went and looked at, and they had a whole section for lofts, right? And it said, gigantic loss for artists in Brooklyn. So I called up the phone number, and this guy, hello, and I go, hi, I'm an artist. Oh, I have the place for you. And I go, can I go over and look at it? No, I'm busy now, but tomorrow, it's in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. You'll take the J and the M train over the Williamsburg Bridge, get off at Marcy Avenue. Okay. Walk down to Broadway, go 2 blocks, hang a right on or left on Roebling's, and come to the burning building. I said, what? Oh, yeah, tomorrow. It'll be, you'll see the smoke, and when you're on the subway, you'll see the fire in the fire trucks. Tomorrow? Oh, yes, tomorrow. You mean it's burning now and it's a big fire and they'll still be there? No, not burning now. Tomorrow, right? And I had students who did studies on the Hasidim and Lubavitcher and how they, cornered the diamond and semiconductor world in the 60s and 70s by burning their buildings down and taking the insurance money. And they had it down, So, I go, okay, so you could come around 12. So, I get on the subway, I'm coming over the bridge, and my God, there's a building on fire. And I get off at Marcy Avenue, go down Broadway, hang a left on Roebling's, and go up there. And there's all these firemen, and there's a guy in a black coat with a kind of fur hat, little strings hanging out, a big white beard like mine. Yep, Facebook group. It's right on there. One of you shock troops put it up there, and I walk up this guy. I go, hi, I'm looking for a loft. Oh, just hold on a second. And so we wait there, and the firemen are putting out the fire, and the insurance guy comes and gives him a check for lots of money. And then the fire captain comes over, and the guy in the black coat takes out an envelope and hands it to the fireman. And then we walk down the street about 5-6 blocks, hang a left and then a right, and we're almost in front of the new housing project called Roberto Clemente, because there used to be a lot of Puerto Ricans living here in Williamsburg who worked in all the Hasidic factories, and they voted Democratic, so the Democrats built these housing projects for them. But who moved in but the Hasidim? But that's another story. And anyway, so my rabbi takes me, I didn't know he was a rabbi at the time, but this guy takes me up to this loft, and gigantic loft, 17,000 square feet loft for $200. And it has heat, and electricity and gas. Anyway, so I would, fix things, right? So as he was showing me around, I said, well, this is kind of screwed up. And, oh, look at that. That doesn't work. And he goes, well, I have my super, but he really, he's just a big black man, and I keep him around to run the elevator. But you fix things? I said, oh, yeah. He goes, well, we can trade. And I go, okay. So he would, instead of $200, he ended up, always paying me money. Anyway, and he had a nephew who he wanted to be an electrician. So I taught. So I had this electrical crew of Hasids, black coats, payas, the hats, the whole deal, right? And I'm just me, right? So anyway, as the years pass by, the rabbi realized, he comes and he sees my library and he goes, "You read Greek?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "You have a Torah here. It's in Hebrew." I go, "Yeah, I read Hebrew too." And he goes, "You need to be a rabbi." And I go, "Rabbi," because that's what I called him after, the first few weeks I call him rabbi. And because I had a couple of teachers who were rabbis, and that's how I learned Hebrew. So, so anyway, he goes, "You need to be a rabbi." And I go, "Well, I am Irish and German and Italian, and I'm Roman Catholic." He goes, "Well, no one's perfect. The Hasidim, we're like the Baptist of the Jews. We'll take anybody." So that's how he put me in his Lubavitcher, his rabbi school. And I spent 2 years. And what I wanted to study was Kabbalah. And he was just like my bishop godfather. He wanted me to be, a astrophysicist, for the Torah, And I was, again, I'm ready, willing, and able. You give me a book that makes me interested, I'm there. I can start. Yep. Something like that. I mean, yes, I'm getting better at understanding these platforms, but I'm still a novice. And like I said, when we get eye to eye, that's when we're going to pull a lot of this stuff together and a real take it on the road. But we're having fun now, and that's one. Yep, 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 yep. Whenever I say yep, I have to say it like 4 times. Yep, 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 yep. And that is, if you ever want to piss somebody, when they're trying to tell you someone, especially someone in authority, and they're like telling you something, all you have to do to really piss them off is go, yep, 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 yep. Ooh, it's one of these body language things that just drives control freaks up the wall, like a Nazi. You want to really make a Nazi put his Luger in his mouth and blow his brains out. Go, yep, yep, right away, yep, 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 right, yep, Control freaks. They do it immediately. They just stick that Luger in their mouth. Yep, 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 yep. Okay, we're getting towards at 2 hours 0002. I will say goodnight. So it'll be 200, 3 zeros and a 2. So tonight was good. And you guys are getting really good at going into state, and being, having a foot in both worlds. And that's kind of a very good tact. And practice it when you go to sleep, go into dream time, and have lucid dreams in your lodge. Start it out in the lodge, go into your Akashic record, man, and your Akashic record can go to any place. It's like a book. You can go Grimm's Fairy Tales, anything in your imagination, because that's kind of your Akashic record. So you can have some pretty amazing dreams. You can work out whatever problem you frigging have. Not a problem. / group. I go to the other end of the tunnel. Thank you, everyone. Okay, we're getting there. / etc. Yes, you guys make me smile. Sweet dreamy land, everyone. Good night, Dragon. Good night, Divine. Fish, Blindy. Boo, 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 boo. Twitchy. Kib. Oh, boo, boo, boo. Trevor. Good night. Sweet dreams, Trevor. Divine. Boo, 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 boo. Tony, is that the kid or Kib? Ba, 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 ba. Good night, my friends. Good night, friends. Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams. So, it was like an hour and a half ago. I said, oh, when it's 2:02, I'll say goodnight. Well, only a minute has gone by. See how time is irrelevant? See how linear time doesn't exist? Oh, I love this thing. Do, 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 do. Yep. Now, the thing about Trev, which will be another good exercise, what I'm going to be teaching you guys is how to do cold readings, meaning how you walk up to somebody, you have no idea who they are, never seen them before in your life, and you'll be able to read them like a friggin' book. What was a good question? Good question. If the moon being the Death Star, how is the association of the moon as a type of mother figure work out? Well, it's called mythology, right? And the thing about the moon, I mean, it's a small little thing, but its gravitational force is like humongous. I mean, it moves the oceans around, I mean, it basically, why it was put where it's put, facing in one direction the way it is all of the Walmarts are on the other side, but the big, gigantic, hunkin' chunk of rock that was the planet between Mars and Earth and the sun got blown into the Kuiper Belt, and this little moon, takes its place gravitationally. So it's the mother. It takes care. Meaning the thing that was normally there, naturally there, or whatever, got obliterated in one shot, and probably by that Death Star, and then it was parked there to keep our little planet safe. Meaning, if the moon wasn't there, we would not be here. Everything would be so out of kilter, we would not be here. Oh, we're still freaking 3 minutes. It's amazing how times go by slow when you're having fun. Withdrawal is a BBT. Heck. Vape that caffeine straight into your. Yep. I'm also going to show you how to, I don't want to use the word manipulate, but manipulate your vagus nerve so you won't have to, you can get as high as you friggin' want. You can be as coked up, as jacked up on caffeine and nicotine and not do any of it. I used to smoke, and I went to school at Duke, and they gave you the cigarettes there because Doris Duke was like, the cigarette girl. And when I came back to New York, cigarettes were $1.50, and I said, screw that. So just think of all the money you'd save, buddy, if you gave up all that crap. And like I said, I'm going to show you how to, work your vagus nerve so you can experience any of those joys of substances without the physical need. Oh, Miss Moon, how you doing? I'm going to find, Miss Moon, I kind of got to hold you on the internet gizmo, right? So that's why you're here. Have you been here the whole evening? Did you experience the chat? Anyway, I'll look that up for you. I mean, you could Google it. It's one of those Googleable things. Good, clean fun. Okay, you're right, buddy. I'm just giving you, but I'm still going to teach you how to do that, all of you. And you can still do whatever you want. Because I am not here. And if when I show you how to use your vagus nerve, you can do, more stuff than you can ever, and it won't hurt your body. How about that? So you can have good, clean fun and not have it, kill you. Because I want you around, buddy. I mean, if I have to be around, So, Miss Moon, did you, like I said, did you catch the whole drift of tonight's chat? Uh, oh, there she is. Nope, 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 nope. Well, we do this in the mornings, sometimes between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and pretty religiously 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so everyone can jump in. Just got your email. Okay, there you go. Yep, missed it. Well, the beauty of YouTube, you can go back. I have probably close to almost 200 of these things up on the old YouTube channel, and you found it. So go look at it. Go look at tonight's. Oh, the last 5 nights have been pretty interesting. Made a video to email to you today. Okay, good. It was like 40 minutes and it wouldn't fit in the whatever. Sweet. Yep, yep, yep. And you'll love this group. We are the shock troops of fun. Yep. Yep. Enter the void. Yep. And it's good to have you aboard, Miss Moon. Do you like being called Moon or Michelle? Oh, yep, yep, yep. Yeah. Yep. That's it. Oh, thank you, Vlad. Yeah, I don't need it high quality. Just kind of there. How did you tag me? Oh, I can see things. Okay, Moon. Moon shell. Serbia. Vlad, I love your country. I love your people. You have any friends who are Roma? I have a lot of friends who are Roma. Do 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 do. Good night. Good night. Moon, where do you live? All these guys are like, you can see our friend there, Vlad, is in Serbia. Buddy is in New Zealand. Tucker, you're in Canada, right, Tuck? Everyone, Moonshell, that's cool too. Set time now. Yep. We love you, Sensei Al. And I love all of you. My cadre. You are all my cadre. Well, let's see. I always have cool dreams. I had a very nice romantic dream last night. That was very nice. with a new girlfriend. I'd never, and it wasn't like a dream of somebody I knew. And we were in a coffee shop, and it was super duper crowded and loud, and um, there was a little table, and it had wound wire legs, and the seats had wound wire legs, and we kind of came into this coffee shop from two different directions, and I was closer to the counter and got my latte and the little baked good, and I kind of went up on, and it was like a stage, and I sat down there, and I took out of my magic bag a book I was reading and my little notebook that I always have that I write ideas down in. And uh, the young lady came up, and she looked right at me and smiled and said, "That's the last seat. Can I sit there?" And I said, "But of course." And it went from there. Was her name Tila? No, no, I didn't quite get her name. That was, I don't know if any of you guys have had that experience where you meet someone and you just click amazingly and you talk about all these amazing things and you don't ask each other, you don't introduce yourself. Well, that's what it was like. Boo, boo, doo, doo. And the bed I sleep in is like a rack. So it doesn't, it's like I'm sleeping right on it now. It's not the most, it's better than, you know, a bed made out of nails, but not much better. It's not like I have a really sweet bed. I have a king size bed out in the middle of the deep green. Do Puma Punka told me it was angry. Is that a Hawaiian, like Pele? You? Oh, Swan. We have to get her to join. She needs friends, that girl. She needs somebody who's not going to use her. Someone, because she's special. We're all special here, but she would be interesting. She needs a break too. Like I said, she's being used. That's pretty obvious. From Bolivia, the ruins. Okay. So do you live in Bolivia, Moon? That has stopped chemtrailing vaccines at you. It's not that there's something wrong with her. It's that something wrong is being done to her. That's what it is. There's nothing wrong with her, per se, but something wrong is being done to her. Yeah, you don't have chemtrails. Everywhere I go in the world, I've seen chemtrails. That's right, buddy. Buddy's right. There's just enough to be energetic, but not enough to really screw the place up. It's like the big green I live, right? It is 200 square miles of deep Appalachian poverty. So there's no industry. There's no, there's no big, box store down the road. There's nothing. So the stars, the closest lights, like from a parking lot, is 30 miles away from me. Right? The houses are like 4 and 5 miles away from me. There's no cable TV. There's no internet. There is no cell phones. There is no radio or television because it's Sawtooth Mountains. Ba, ba, ba. Fish. The she you're talking about, is, what's her name? Miss Swan? Or the Russian lady? Yes. If you're talking about Swan, well, we're family here. We are the shock troops. We are the cadre. That's family. I mean, early on, I was using, instead of calling it the cadre, I was calling it the family, and someone said, "Are you a cult?" Like the billionaire rich, yep. But, buddy, did you grow up there, or did you emigrate? Because my experience at New Zealand was the indigenous power there, the spiritual power there is so friggin' nuts in its intensity. It's so beautiful that if the rich were to go there, an asteroid is going to hit the place. Eat the rich, yep. Well, Miss Moon, you can tell us whatever you want about your dreams here, or you can tell me in a more private sense, at my the Dude Awake 42. And so come tomorrow night, or because, see, we do guided meditations, and there's a thing called your Akashic record, which is your subconscious, right? And you go into your subconscious through your imaginary mirror, and that's where you have your dreams. So everyone here is a, but it's not psychonaut. What are we calling ourselves? Akashonauts. I like that. And you can go and see your dreams and what they really mean in your Akashic record. And what you do is you take your dream and you take it out of your conscious self, not your consciousness, but your conscious self. And your conscious self is your avatar, your bag of water. Your consciousness is in your superconscious mind. So anyway, these are all tools. And if you hang out with us, you will learn how to use them. I have taught everyone here of the cadre and the shock troops. The shock troops are the folk, the 10 to 20 folk who come to the live chats pretty much every night. And practice makes perfect. So all of those who take part of this pretty much can go, it's called going into state. And so your dreams, you can, analyze your own dreams pretty quickly. Eat trash. Oh, and Moon, you will like this gang because it'll make you laugh and it'll make your heart sing. What were you dreaming about, Kib? If you want to share. Awesome sound effects. I don't know what I'm doing, but that's usually the best. Is it good weird dreams or anxious weird dreams or three swimming pools on top of each other about to fall? Okay. Well, that's a kind of, you know, dreams have many different levels, just like you got three pools there, right? So, what water represents is basically the fluidity of knowing, right? And in our Akashic record, we have this house that we all have lodges in, and it's called the Oracle at Delphi, right? And it is Frank Lloyd's Wright a house in Pennsylvania called Falling Water, but really big. And so you get your own little lodge there, right? And in your lodge, you have a garden, and then in the garden is the tree of knowledge. So anyway, you got the swimming pool. You got three of them. They're on top of each other, right? So it's like a totem pole, right? And the pool on the bottom is the strongest, and then the next one is more ephemeral, and the top one is like gossamer, right? And so, can you swim from pool to pool through them, or do you have to get out of one pool to go into the next pool? Boo, boo, boo. I wrote down a few dreams when I first woke up. When you go back and read them, I will blow your shit. Right. Another good tool, Tone's right here, is if you take the smartphone that has the, recorder, and there's this dynamic in your brain. So you have a dream, you wake up and go, oh boy, that's weird. Take your recorder of your phone and you hit the record button. You go, wow, just had this dream about blah, 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 blah. Now it is on the instrument and you can play it back 100 times. And see, there's a thing in your mind. When you have dreams, you can speak about them, but writing them down takes them out of context and puts them, it kind of, it does the same thing that Lucifer does. It kind of makes it go, like it's not clear. But if you take your recorder and hit the record button and go, I had this dream about blah, 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 it's all there. Then you go back and listen to it. Then you get a notebook and you play it, and you can, and because it's recorded, you can pause, you can go back and listen to that same sentence 100 times and write it down. And when we were in school, we took notes not to understand, but to remember. So when you do this, this is called Gestalt, a German word for lightning understanding. And this is what Gestalt therapy is about. I was a shrink, and, I was an expensive tape recorder, meaning I put you on the couch, just like I say to you guys, okay, sit down, relax, lie down. And I would put them in state, and then I would take the things from their subconscious mind and have them talk about it, because by them talking about it, it gets it out of them, just like how I have you, evacuate all of your anger into the Akashic record. Anyway, so looking at your dreams is a great way to understand yourself. And I would teach people how to do that. And then my boss would say, what are you doing? They're not going to come back. You've just cured them. I wanted them for another 20 years. I needed a swimming pool. Let's see. Those three pools are the wires of the Moon. Yes, Moon, you'll find that we all are shamanic here. Instead of being psychic, which no one is, we're shamanic. You can be empathetic. It's just a scam to think you're psychic. You can't read a mind. You can read trends. You can read body language. You can read tells. And you can do cold readings. And these are all things I'm going to be teaching you all. I had a dream where people were getting beheaded. Ooh. And I watched this one person lose their foot about inches. Yes. Well, that's kind of the dream of the irrelevance of surgery, you know. Being beheaded is not a good thing. Yep, that sounds Uchi. Yep, exactly. Good word, Twitch. Uchi. I'm going to be using that more often. Oh, that is so Uchi. Yes, the Maori should not be trifled. They will kill your ass. I mean, I like the Maori because of all the indigenous folk, they knew about the white folk, but because New Zealand was at the bottom of the world, it took the English a little time to get there. And the Maori, tell me if I'm wrong about this, buddy. The Maori went out there in their longboats and had the big-breasted girls and piles of fruit and went on the boats and gave them fruit and danced for them and gave them elixirs that would knock them out. And then they would kill them and set the boat on fire. And so it took the English a lot longer to get to the Maori. And when the English finally showed up there with a serious kind of gun thing, the Maori said, fine, we will kill every motherfucker one of you as we can. And then if more of you show up, we'll just keep killing you until you kill us, and we will burn this place to the ground. Or you can rent it from us and we'll be in charge. Did I get that right, buddy? Because I'm just paraphrasing. To go into another dream. Yeah, well, that's a good thing. Aloe nuts. I love it. I love it. See, buddy, he's got a twist of the word. A flute. So that's 2 votes. Okay. Ringing in the left ear. Are you wearing earbuds or is that your ear ringing? Because, you can have, the change of air pressure and electromagnetics makes our ears ring. And then there's having wax in your ear. And yep, I like that. Polemic radar mind. Not sure. Yep. But gang, all of this crap, about HARP and chemtrails and all that shit, it is irrelevant. The only power there is love's co-creation. And the only battery, the dark sun makes chemtrails and HARP look like nothing, like bubbles. Bubbles are even more stronger than that crap. Posted low part of the VHF. Yep. I used to play around with that stuff, buddy. Video I watched where some guy had some mic that recorded a wide range of frequencies. It was a constant one range of, yep, or something. It was some tone. I got as, yes. Yeah, that word, I can't pronounce it, but that's a little problem you get, tinnitus. That's guys who have. I used to work at radio stations. Guys who did a lot would get that tinnitus, whatever that word is. I don't get it. Me neither. Yep. Yes, laughter is the best medicine. And one of the things, gang, we are all doctors because we definitely make each other laugh. That's what I love about you guys and gals. We care about each other, so we give each other space to laugh. Very calming. Yep. Calming, fun, enlightening, and bringing self awareness is always a good thing. Yep. And at some point, we're going to come eye to eye and bring this on the road. We're going to put together a traveling video art circus. Right? We're going to have a barrel full of monkeys because we are all cheeky monkeys here on this bus. Well, that's when you know you've got a good job. It's when you go in and you talk about stuff that's not the job. Then you know you got a good employer. Then you know you got a good supervisor, or you're going to be the good supervisor. So, Moon, Fish went to I guess it was 2 or 3 days ago. We had a morning chat, and he jumped in, and he said, "Oh, I can't stay too long. I have to go to this interview." And I said, "Okay, well, what you got to do is go in state and visualize having the best experience you had." And then I said to the rest of the cadre, "So we're now all going to pray for Fish, and for the rest of the day, we're going to visualize Fish having the best interview he ever had in the universe." She will call you back, Fish. I can guarantee it. And Fish, you should give her, the Dreamy Dreamland address. Yep, laughing raises our vibration. And caring about another, other than yourself, heals every disease in your body. Because what it does, what is disease? But, so when you diss somebody, right? And then ease, that's disease, right? So when you laugh and you make someone else feel happy, that makes you happy. Sort of presumptuous, meaning the other side of the coin, Fish. Okay, you're talking about your employment, not general public, right? I mean, you do have to have a certain decorum in the workplace, right? So, but you get to know somebody good enough, even in the workplace. You don't have to worry about that decorum, right? Yes, immediately, right off the bat. No, you meet somebody going, you can't go, "Let's get married." No, sorry, that's not going to work. I mean, sometimes maybe, but most times no. Then it is somewhat presumptuous. Yes, very good. I like that. I'm going to use that. Somewhat presumptuous. Yeah. Oh, see, Fish, our friend Moon, she knows what she's talking about. Dream, sweet dream, sweet dream. Good night. Good. And look at that. I was waiting for 2 hours and 002. Now it's 2 hours and 30 minutes. But this is fun. I'm having fun. And I'm not tired. It's probably only 9 o'clock, give or take. Fishing for cats. Sweet dreams, sweet dreams, sweet dreams. Oh, I don't know. Nothing. Bam. Okay. Well, I'm glad you showed up, Miss Moon, and I hope you show up every evening and in the morning whenever you can. Like I said, I try to do them twice a day so everyone can hit one of them because they are way fun and they are way probably some of the best something going on. Is that really true, Fish? Is that what that is? Oh. Uh, uh, oh, that's great, Fish. Oh, well, I think that's the proper use of technology, Fish. Yes, I. Yes, I. uh, Fish got you, buddy. Okay. So we'll all be back. Okay, so that's in evenings from 7 p.m. Eastern Time to whenever. And in the morning sometime between 7 and 10ish for an hour or so. But they go long too when they're fun like this. All is well, my friends. And buddy, you are a cheeky monkey. You don't ever have to be pardoned. The old switcheroo. That's right. Well, you might know, Miss Moon, when you are in love, it doesn't matter where you are. Yep. Cheeky funky. I think that is a good line, a good hook for a song. Cheeky monkey, cheeky monkey. Pensky. Pensky. Good night, Miss Moon. I'll see you soon. And like I said, you want to talk, it's at the dude awake 42 at Gmail. Do, 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 do. Buddy, you stay there you were in summertime right now. In about 3 months, around May time, come on over. And if you got any cadre that are like you there, come over with a team. Sweet dreams, sweet dreams, sweet dreams. What was the topic tonight? Boy, 72, you got on in just under the line. What was it? It's like 2 hours ago, 2 hours and a half ago. It kind of, we're talking about how the illusion of the bubble of Luciferian universe is the whole concept of abuse. And that we, the cadre, are the aesthetic opposite of abuse. And that's what we're going for. Oh, good. Okay. Oh, good. We made the connect. So anytime, Miss Moon, just here or there, I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. So, 72, you can just go watch this, it's being recorded once it's up there. And guys, remember, I got about 200 of these, and the last 10 have been pretty amazing. So we're getting better and better with each one of these things we do. Oh, yeah, we talked about the Black Sun. That's where I took everyone in state. Yes, that is what they are, energy. But 72, the thing we have to do is always rhyme, is that this will not end until everyone is loved, until our consciousness, our free wills come together in love's co-creation. And then we all go home. So, 72, remember, pretty much morning chat somewhere between 7 to 10 Eastern time. And like clockwork, 7 p.m. at night. Meaning if I am near a good Wi-Fi, I'm doing it at 7 p.m. So, okay, gang. It's in about a minute, give or take, I'm going to say goodnight. I love you all. This was a really good one. Again, every night it gets better. Exactly, Fish. Nobody is truly enlightened until we all are. Oh-ho. Okay, we're running up there towards 2:38:38, and that's what I'm saying goodnight. I love you all. Stay well. Be happy. I'll see you tomorrow. See you in dream time in about an hour. There it is.